Welcome to Overseasoned.
It's only going to take one take.
I actually kicked him out of the restaurant.
Why?
Gotta bitch to someone.
Gotta bitch to somebody, and I'm good to bitch to.
I thought you were from Spain.
Yes, I am.
Oh.
Sí soy.
Gotcha.
Soy chorizo.
Oh no.
You've gone into Martha Stewart land.
It's good. It's just not live.
Whatever.
Okay.
It's like a scene from Cocoon. Like the sun goes down.
You don't want to get blacklisted.
You know what, Mr. President? Is this what you want? Bienvenidos a Buenos Aires. Buenos días. I just had to do that, sorry. What a beautiful day.
I know, it's amazing. I just landed here in beautiful Buenos Aires about an hour ago.
Yeah.
And comes up, we're dry on podcast, so we have to
We
get
are
right
dry.
up for tomorrow.
This is the closest
actually,
recording live from
Yeah.
that we've ever done.
It's not live.
It's going to be, but it's essentially is. This is fresh
We'll get there.
ass
We'll get there
content.
someday. We'll get there someday. But yeah, so
Lord.
now we're going to be up to date. It's going to be cool. So when somebody says,
Yeah.
mention some random thing about what we said, we might remember now because a lot of times they're 2 months down
Why
the
are
road.
you telling them how we make the sausage?
I'm sorry. You're right.
Well, more importantly, Speaking of sausage, so I'm going to try with every fiber in my being on this recording to honor a brand new demographic who's joined the show.
Do tell.
So I got a text yesterday from a very close friend and his wife, Aaron Patrick, my good buddy, a longtime wine friend, sommelier down in Dallas.
Master Somm, right?
He's a master somm.
How many Master Somms are there?
230, I don't know.
Around there.
Around 200. But there's like 30 of them that passed this test that haven't got theirs swiped away. There was a scandal.
Oh, that was like years ago.
That was a few years ago, yes.
Several years ago.
Yeah, I don't know that the Somm community has recovered from it, but I digress. Aaron is not only a legit, registered, certified master sommelier, but he's also, from what it seems like, an avid listener of the Overseasoned podcast. So Christy and Aaron, thanks for listening. They sent me a text yesterday, and they were in their car on their way somewhere, and they were going to binge listen to Overseasoned. And in the picture was their two beautiful children, Finn, who is a super handsome dude, and also, Finn's the only one who's present in this picture.
Nice.
But I thought that the show.
I need some reflective sunglasses like that.
Look at that cute little guy.
Yeah.
So
He likes all your poop jokes.
Huh?
He likes all your poop jokes.
He loves my poop jokes.
Yeah.
And we're going to keep them to poop. I'm going to try not to curse on this episode
all right. Well.
of Overseasoned. I thought that the show was specifically geared towards a bunch of jaded restaurant people, which, by the way, Christy and Aaron are those.
Right. Well, they're indoctrinating the next generation.
The next generation.
Right.
Actually, what I'm hoping we can do...
Get them before they even get into the business.
Well, listen.
Jade them out before they even get their first job.
Yes.
Right?
If we can have them pissing vinegar and what's the other... Whatever. Anyway, I'm going to try really hard.
You almost slipped.
Yeah, I almost slipped. I'm going to try really hard not to use profanity in this show. We're in Buenos Aires.
The coffee's delicious. I slept
Coffee's
an hour.
delicious.
I slept an hour on the flight overnight here, so I'm sucking back coffee. I apologize.
Perfect. No, there's nothing to
But
apologize for.
it's really good.
I'm glad.
I love the South American coffee culture.
Yeah, me too. So I've been in Buenos Aires, and since this episode is for the kids, I don't have children, right? And I've been here for a couple of days. I've had the opportunity to eat at a couple really nice restaurants.
You're kind of like
I dabbled a little bit.
You're your own child with the credit card.
I'm my own child, correct, with
You're
the
kind of
credit
like
card. It's
fighting
actually,
this internal battle with like, should I, shouldn't I? You always do. I don't know where the question comes.
So listen, as a child, there was many times where I was not allowed to get what I wanted.
Yeah.
Now,
whatever you want.
It's turning into a problem. I'm starting to understand and feel like I have a food and wine compulsion. Like it's like a pathological.
Dude, we will go to a
Honoring?
restaurant. We will go to a restaurant. We'll sit there. Remember this every time.
Okay.
I'm not too hungry today. Let's just get something light, you know. You want a guac? No, I don't want a guac. Let's just keep it light, do it. The waitress comes up. We'll take 2 orders of guac. That's what you like. Just start ripping stuff out. Like there's something that happens in between that time when you're looking at the menu and the wait staff shows up.
If you
just
even
start
plant the seed,
hammering
dude,
them.
if you even plant the seed, that's the problem.
Yeah, but you changed your mind
But
within like 5 seconds.
It's a problem. I wish I might have to seek therapy, food and wine therapy, because dude, even when
You could just cut off your credit card. That would.
oh, that's really scary.
Let's not
Really
go that
scary.
far. yet.
I've worked really hard to get to this point where I can spend frivolously on Burgundy everywhere I go. Anyway, so I got recommended to go to this really fun restaurant. We're here in a little part of Buenos Aires called Palermo, which is it's sections of what feels like hipster Buenos Aires, right? So it's
Lots of tattoos.
lots of tattoos,
Lots of
coffee
coffee
shops. That's
Lots
correct.
of graffiti. I've only been here an hour.
Lots of
Kind
vintage
seeing it,
stores.
Yeah.
And it's broken up into different sections. There's a Palermo Soho,
Oh.
like a Soho version. There's a Palermo Hollywood. And so, for example, I found out just reading that Palermo, it's called Palermo Hollywood because a lot of the studios are in this area that do recordings
makes
and
sense.
TV. Disney has their Argentina studios only like 2 blocks away, which is interesting. But anyway, so I got recommended to go to this restaurant called El Preferido de Palermo, which is like the favorite, Palermo's favorite in English, right? I was really excited to go. It's a very busy restaurant. It's like an iconic place. It's just got the vibe. You walk in, the kitchen's in the middle of the restaurant. It's beautiful lighting. They've got a big, beautiful outside terrace area. And you could tell there's just the vibes are some tourists, some, food traveler people, let's say, and then a lot of what feels like Buenos Aires hip people, right? Are all here.
And you went there yesterday?
So I went there 2 nights ago.
Okay.
Looking at the menu, and it's one of the things I've been loving about this food experience here in Buenos Aires and in Argentina is it truly is this mix of if Spain and Italy had a baby, right? There's things like
Little German in
salami.
there too? You noticed any German?
I think we
Wonder
might
where that
we
came
might
from.
go
Wonder
there.
how
I don't know.
We always
Maybe they
had
were-
this joke about how you said I slathered everything with mustard.
That's correct.
Right? Literally? Like
Yes.
mustard. German mustard.
Yeah, you got it.
I show up here. I'm looking around the fridge because we're going to do some grilling. I'm seeing what's around. You have 3 bottles of wine. There's 4 in the recycling bin I saw, empty ones, and a jar of mustard. You're like, that's your go. You have to have a jar of mustard now? You made
Well-
fun of me so much for so long, and now this is the one condiment for Mr. Condiment that you have in the fridge. I'm happy. I'm happy.
I'm a
Don't get me wrong. I'm
a
happy.
hospitality guy.
Oh, it was for
I
me.
was looking out for you.
Gotcha.
Okay? I wanted
It
to
looks
make sure
about
you
half
felt
empty.
at home
It looks
the
about
moment
half
you
empty.
landed.
Gotcha.
Well,
I appreciate
and with
that.
all this, thank you for bringing up the mustard. Look, part of Overseasoned's mantra is that we're going to evolve. We're going to grow. We're going to not just be
say no.
stuck
Right.
in our food and wine preferences, in our career preferences.
We're gonna branch out. We're
gonna
gonna
learn from each
experiment.
other.
We're gonna try new
yes,
things.
Yes, and so I wanted to make sure that there was beautiful whole grain mustard in that fridge.
Is that your
Also,
go-to, whole grain?
I love Dijon also.
Yeah.
And who is your buddy Shapiro?
Yeah, Julian.
Julian,
His secret-
I love
his secret recipe?
I love his take that the standard mustard should be half Dijon, half the smooth, half the whole,
Yeah.
and mixed. But I wasn't about to
Start,
I don't love
yeah.
you that much.
Gotcha.
I just wanted you to be
Yeah.
half comfortable when you landed.
Right.
But I mean, that all goes back to I wanted to get some snacks for when I first landed. I stayed in a hotel for a couple of days, and dude, there's beautiful charcuterie restaurants throughout the entire city is filled with them, and there's this big culture of like salumi, mortadella. Dude, I went to a deli and they had 4 kinds of mortadella, which is cool.
Yeah.
And
Was it
so
like different? What were the different? What?
there was one with black peppercorn,
Okay.
without pistachio, one with pistachio, one
But
with
the same
both.
basic mix, you think?
No,
Just with different
one
flavors.
looked more cured, like darker on the outside.
That was probably the horse.
It was delicious. Jesus. And then the other was, I hope it was horse. It was really good. High in protein.
Caballero.
Yeah, exactly. And then, so I ended up getting 2. I said, give me 2. Like I said, I'll take mortadella. And he goes, what kind? And I said, what kinds do you have? And then he showed me peppercorn, pistachio, one that had flecks of pepperoncino in it,
Nice.
and then another with truffle. And I said, what are your 2 favorites? He said, the 2 classics. And I said, what are the 2 classics? And so he gave me one with peppercorn inside and one with pistachio on the inside.
Yeah, no olives.
No olives. They were fantastic. But
I would
listen,
probably go with the peppercorn. I like that.
So I went through the same thing I usually go through, some sort of existential crisis in terms of condiments,
Right.
because I bought half a pound of each of those, then half a pound of this beautiful salami that was like
Where's
a finocchiona.
all this salami?
Bro, I've been here for a few days. I crushed it all. Hence the mustard. Anyway, that's what
It's
I was.
for you. It's
We're
for you.
going to get more stuff. I promise. Okay? I promise. We're going to have too much stuff. That's the goal. So, and now that you've mentioned it, I'm gonna make sure to get you charcuterie at every place we go
Sweet.
to. Okay.
My cardiologist will approve.
Yes, good. And so, so that's why there's mustard in there. Oh, and then so at El Preferido, they have a beautiful section of charcuteries. They have this really interesting mix of like polpete, like the wood-fired meatballs with like tomato and ricotta. But then they'll have like tortilla española. And
It's a huge town too, so there's lots of different influences.
That's
It'll
correct.
be interesting because we're going to the town. What town are we going to tomorrow? Sorry, my brain's a little.
oh, we're going to Mendoza, which
Mendoza.
is the anchor city of the wine, of one of the major wine regions
Right.
here.
So we'll see how things are a little bit different out in the countryside.
I can't wait
too.
to see it.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
And the things we do for our listenership, right?
Yeah.
We're doing all of the hard work in going to the wine region of of Argentina. We're going
That's
to
next month. Yeah.
planting seeds. And so, so I'm at this restaurant, and you're a parent. I was getting some texts from friends who now their kids are listening to Overseasoned. And by the way, we thank you for your listenership. And I want to make sure that, of course, I'm honoring, like ensuring that these young listeners are armed with all the tools they need to be great worldly food travelers.
Just minus the cussing.
Well, I think at some point in the show we're going to have to get into kids and cussing because I think it's hysterical since I don't have them.
Right.
So, all right. I go to order, and of course, I do a little bit of a mixture of some Italian stuff and some Spanish-leaning stuff. I started with gambas al ajillo. So they had these beautiful red Argentinian prawns. They come out in like a little cast iron that's like bubbling over with beautiful olive oil and garlic, and they're like these big juicy prawns. So like that hits the table. They had this beautiful olive oil service. I'll show you a picture. 3 different olives from Mendoza on a slice of blood orange with amazing olive oil over top, and like this really super crusty roll. And I had a little piece to try, because fuck it, life is for living. And it was in that moment that I'm like asking the server, like, hey, what are you guys known for? And this is like a Michelin recommend, I think it's a Michelin star restaurant. And like I said, it's like for me, it felt like the epicenter of, it's like the Balthazar or the park.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like where all walks of life go to eat.
It's big enough, it can... Right.
Yes, it's got that vibe, right?
Yeah.
It's on the corner, it's a place to be seen, it's great food. And I'm like, what can't I miss? I asked the server, like, what's something I have to have? And she's like, well,
spaghetti.
No, she said, if there's one thing we're known for, it's milanesa. And I'm like, milanesa? And she's like, yeah, we got 4 different kinds. So they have milanesa from bife de chorizo, which is from a steak milanesa, like a New York strip, I guess.
Chicken fried steak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they had the chicken milanesa, which is what I got. They have milanesa napolitana, which was a mindfuck to me.
You said that.
Milanesa napolitana. It's like, how did you figure out how to throw 2 Italian cities into one dish, right? We got Milan's fucking contribution to the world and Napoli, just like,
What was it?
that one, as far as I understand it, because I haven't had it, and I'm sure we'll try some at some point on our trip, is a milanesa of either pork or veal or chicken, like your choice, or beef. But then they top it with ham and with cheese and with basil. Right? No red sauce, I don't think. And so, but I was like...
So that was just with the topping. So
Yes,
was
that one's with the topping.
milanesa was on the bottom and the topping was...
That's correct.
Gotcha.
That's correct. And, one thing...
Was that 3? Was there one more?
I think there was an eggplant one too. And so the experience got me thinking. I'm like, as an American and as somebody who's got a lot of friends who have kids.
Now he's an American.
Claro que soy.
I mean...
¿Por qué?
It's just this... Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
This fluctuating nationality.
Listen.
As an American.
Well,
I don't know if I've ever heard that one before.
From the perspective of an American who's got
someone-
many American friends with children.
From the perspective of
Yes.
a Spaniard who lives in
Listen,
America.
just because I have multiple personalities doesn't mean, you. So many of my friends, especially those with kids, tell me how much their kids love chicken tenders, right?
It's not really true. It's more like,
The shapes that they're cut into.
from my experience, it's because you fucking want a chicken. Shit. Two in one. You want to eat a chicken finger too. And like, let's get chicken fingers for the kid. He'll nibble on an edge. He'll eat the fries. Just keep dipping them in ketchup over and over again. But you get to eat the chicken
So
fingers.
what you're saying is,
Yeah, it's
there's
like a sneak
also
attack. It's like a
lots-
sneaky way to get chicken fingers for yourself.
Okay, so look, what we're
They're not
gonna-
chicken nuggets, like chicken fingers or like a breaded cutlet.
I think they're all brethren.
Which is my go-to.
They're a family of friends in the food world.
I get it. If there's a cutlet on the menu, I get it. Every time.
So and I think so. The goal of this episode is to steer our not only the kids that listen to this show, but maybe all of the rest of the man children and woman children, all of us inner children that need to figure out how we're going to fulfill our chicken tender fantasies. I think that there's a way for us to accomplish eating chicken tenders everywhere throughout the world. And so I have lots of friends who are like, my fucking kid, my child.
the seal has been broken.
My child, all they eat is tenders and nuggets, and I can't get them to eat anything else. It's ridiculous. Now, listen, my father would have been like, oh, you want chicken tenders? Cool. It's anchovies or fucking you're going... or you're going to sleep without eating, right? And so...
That was your.
This is where the
you'd
love
ask for
of
chicken fingers. You get anchovies.
Dude, anchovies or sardines. This is where the love of condiments
bait and
comes.
switch.
This is where the love of condiments comes, right? Because it's when Pops goes with crackers, saltine crackers, and like a tin fish.
Just load it up.
this is where you're like, all
Do
right.
you still eat those things, or is it?
Yes, I
Okay,
do.
yeah.
I do. I've come back around, and I really love sardines. And I actually discovered that I may like the tinned sardines better than the fresh ones.
I could see that. They've
Holy
got a
crap.
particular. It's different, right? It's a little
Yeah.
bit-
Anyway,
I see them everywhere now. I see tinned fish all over the place.
somehow it's become like the cool thing.
Yeah.
And they figured out how to charge you $20 for a fucking can of tinned fish.
We're gonna have
Right?
to
It
bleep this
used,
one for the
it
kids.
used to be,
Yeah.
It used to be that tin fish was just for poor people.
Right.
It was just an inexpensive way to have dinner.
Right.
And you just,
That's what all the
it's on the
cartoons told
fly.
us. It was always like some,
Yes. Yes. Like
Destitute,
Heathcliff
last
or
thing in the
Garfield
cabinet.
was always so sad when he had to eat sardines. He wanted lasagna.
Right.
Anyway, so I think for the world at large, for all of us who want to honor our inner childs, this episode is for all of you. We're going to talk about all of the ways that you can eat chicken tenders throughout the world. And my first experience is here. So I'm at this fancy...
That's your first experience?
Well, I'm just saying. I'm just going to kick it off.
That's the first
With-
time you've had a Milanesa?
It's not the first time I've had a Milanesa.
Oh, because the breading. Maybe you've been holding off because the breading.
So I'm here. I have a Milan. Yeah, and by the way, the gluten thing. I'm just gonna. I
just
think
go for
the
it.
year of 2025, and from now on, is gonna be. And some other travels I've had. I was just like, fuck it. Screw it. Moving forward, I'm going to enjoy my life, not go overboard, and essentially, with all the travel, it's really tough to.
Yeah.
It's tough to land in Turkey
Well,
and be like, I can't have gluten,
Right. And you want to experience those things.
and I want to experience the things because
And it
I
hasn't
love food.
really been, I mean, you haven't really had any issues.
That's what what I'm starting to wonder is the industrial complex flour of the United States what really is the problem?
Sure.
Right? This is something that was brought up to another one of our dear friends, Julia Verona, who mentioned to me, hey, maybe it's not actually the gluten it's gluten. Maybe it's the American over...
And everything they do to make it rise so quickly.
That's
and stuff,
exactly right.
Some of the yeasts and stuff and bread stabilizers they use.
And supposedly they add gluten so that they don't have to go through a fermentation process.
Yeah, all kinds of stuff. Anyway, we'll start to experiment on that. So yesterday was your first, or the day before yesterday was your
My first Argentinian Milanesa. And I'm
Okay.
in this beautiful chicken Milanesa, right? So I wanted to go... You can go beef and you can go pork.
I'll
And
stick with chicken. Chicken or pork to me is the way to go. You don't really need to go veal. Veal and pork is essentially the same when it's pounded that thin and breaded and fried.
let me tell you...
I mean, traditionally,
Yeah.
Wiener Schnitzel was like veal, right? No?
Yeah, well, so
Yeah.
listen.
All right.
So in Argentina, you've got Milanesa. So if you ever want to go to, you want to satisfy your inner child.
It's the same thing, though.
Right, but now we just jumped to Germany. So in Germany, we've got
It was Austria. Wiener Schnitzel. It's an
Wiener
Austrian dish.
Schnitzel.
Yeah.
Is there anything specifically about Wiener Schnitzel that you can recall?
Vienna's Wiener Schnitzel.
Oh, okay. Is there any toppings or anything that comes with that?
I don't think so. I'm going to bungle this slightly, but it always comes with a potato salad. It's the same potato salad in the whole entire country.
In
There's
Austria.
no variation on the recipe. And probably like a cucumber salad or something like that as well. Little mustard, maybe a little red cabbage, something like that. I like it with the salad like right on top. That's how I like to have it.
Well, we just changed countries, didn't we?
I think we did. But, it's an amalgamation.
So, and then, well, it's funny how Wiener Schnitzel, they take all the credit. But so I guess when you go to Germany to have it, do they just call it Schnitzel?
Probably.
Berliner Schnitzel?
Could be.
Franken Schnitzel?
No, it's an Austrian dish.
Interesting. It's an Austrian dish. Okay.
And it's like, it's coming, you get it there and it's like coming over the plate. They're not happy unless it's falling all over the plate.
Oh, that sounds delicious.
Doesn't it?
The one I had here was very simple. It was just breadcrumbs, chicken, and they said what made it special was that it was cooked in olive oil.
Oh.
And it was super clean and light, and they literally
I saw the photo. It looked like it was deep fried. That's what I guessed because it kind of like had puffed up like a hot oil.
Oh, dude.
I know that traditionally the Wiener Schnitzel is done on like 2 different temperatures of oil.
Oh, really?
Like on a stovetop, they like do one and then they do it in another one. Yeah, hotter one after that.
Well, and then and what I loved, it was just simply served with just a big ass slice. I think ass is okay. Slice of lemon on the side.
We'll find out. You'll ask your friend if it's okay.
We'll find out. Yeah.
What new
By the
words
way,
he picked up.
Aaron and Christy are cool. They said their kids already. Let me show you exactly what they said. When they told me that they were listening, their message was listening to your podcast in the car with the whole family. Fried chicken, right?
That's who's listening.
My response,
Now we
yeah,
know.
exactly. This is the 4th listener, aside from our parents. And then, but we should get credit for like
what?
that. So all the counts that we get on Spotify and stuff, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 humans in here.
Yeah, that's messed up.
Come on, Spotify.
Right.
We need to call them up and add those listeners. But so I said something about cursing. Oh, I said, love you guys. Hope it's not too boring. Be careful, I curse. And the response was, that's strange. Our kids have never heard those words before. So I think that their kids are cool and know their boundaries.
Right.
Right?
Unlike.
Listen, you told me one time about your kid had discovered a curse du jour and was like, oh, it was from that song.
The house is on fire. Yeah.
Yeah.
Driving up to preschool, that song came on. Burn, motherfucker. That one?
Burn.
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun,
For
dun,
some
dun.
reason, he picked that right up and went with it. Like it was chanting it all the way up.
We
to
don't need no water,
Yeah.
let the
Yeah.
burn.
Yeah.
It's so good though.
But for some reason, he knew that was off bounds.
That was off limits.
Somehow, he just picked it up and went with it.
So how did you?
But it was too cute.
It's really funny.
It was cute for a while.
Listen, I think when
Until we got to the door, then I had to.
oh,
shut
because
it
you were at the door to school.
down. We were taking him to school. Yeah, and he was singing this song.
Dude, I think when kids
At
curse,
3.
it's like one of my favorite things. Actually, I hope the
This
world.
podcast sure took a turn from like
We're gonna
not
get back
cursing
to it.
to.
It's just, dude, it's funny. I don't know what it is about children cursing. It's like it's gratuitous. It's like people farting. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, is it necessary?
We're just gonna hit the whole trifecta. What's next?
Well, dude, I mean, look, it's childish and it's ridiculous, right? But like, I was at the supermarket
Just
the other
like a
day.
Milanese, huh?
I was at the supermarket the other day, and I was like, of course, in Sarasota, and there's like this old lady. There's this old lady. I'm like waiting to like get some cucumber salad because I was being lazy. I was just gonna grill a pork chop, and they make this at Morton's Market. They make this cucumber dill, you know that summer salad.
Of course, yeah.
Dude, I'm sitting in line, and this old lady's like getting potato salad and stuff, and I straight up am just like, she's like, dear, would you like to order? I'm like, no, please, continue. She's like, I'm gonna be a while. I'm like, enjoy yourself, you know? And dude, I'm just sitting there. She's like getting her potato salad or coleslaw, and she let a little, dude, I lost it. I start fucking cracking up. I have to walk away because I didn't want to embarrass her, and who knows what else she's holding back. So I like did a whole walk through the freaking produce aisle. I needed a second, and you know, and you also, once you know somebody rips it, you don't want to like inhale their. It's like my least favorite part about being in an airplane is like when somebody rips one and you know it and it's not yours. You're a prisoner to their fucking gastric juices. Anyway, so But dude, there's something about it. Children cursing is the same for me. I love it. It just makes me so happy. So I loved when Xander decided that he was gonna. Who's the band that sings that song?
I can't even remember.
Me neither. So we've hit how to be a chicken tender lover in Argentina. Obviously, in Italy, you can
Milanesas around the world. Do you want to talk about other? They obviously have their version.
Yep.
Where else have you had something like this?
Well, so it also got me thinking about our time in Japan. And when we went to Japan,
Katsu.
dude, it's like another fancy ass chicken tender.
Sure.
Just this time it's
Pork.
with pork. It might be my favorite version.
The pork one.
Just in general.
Well, it's just so
Katsu.
beautiful and clean.
Dude, it's
and,
so good.
It's really good.
It's like juicy.
I was looking at those photos the other day.
My mouth's watering just thinking about it. But you know, as much as the world makes fun of like Americans for being like simple eaters and stuff, or children for being simple eaters, American children are the worst of the simple eaters. I think everybody
Kids are hard to please.
has
the
a
world
little
around.
bit of a tender lover inside them.
Sure, it doesn't all have
around
to
the
be,
world.
You know, Chicken McNuggets, I think, gave the whole thing a bad rap. You know what I mean? Like it's not all Chicken McNuggets.
And let me tell you, I've been walking around Buenos
There
Aires.
goes them as a sponsor.
There
Goes McDonald's as a sponsor.
When was the last
We're
time?
just
Have you
talking-
ever had a nugget? A chicken
I mean,
McNugget?
it's been quite some time. Yeah, used to, of course. Come on. I'm an American.
Okay. Do you have a favorite sauce?
I didn't grow up with barbecue.
Yeah, I'm a barbecue guy too.
Yeah.
Their barbecue is special. Their barbecue sauce.
I
at
can't
McDonald's.
quite remember the flavor. I mean, I know it's a
It's
little
like-
smoky,
dude, but
not too sweet, because they have the honey mustard too, right?
They have sweet and sour sauce. I'm sure they have honey mustard.
It's been a long time.
They may have even. I was insane though, but they definitely didn't. I bet it was some German who was trying to mix it up with his mustard collection that invented the honey mustard. But so in Japan, you can be a tender lover eating your katsu, and there they do this really good cabbage salad, super thinly sliced. They
But
toss
dry.
it.
Is it tossed in something? I can't
I
remember.
feel
No,
like
they
it's
gave you
tossed in
something
like a
to.
sesame dressing.
Okay, but really light, super light.
Yes, it's
And then they gave you a sauce to have on it, right? I remember like 2 or 3 sauces on the
yes.
table.
I remember there being like not quite soy, but like a softer dashi.
Yeah.
It's probably something.
I was
super
just
simple.
putting it
might-
on everything. I couldn't tell what was what.
It was so good, and then they make like their own. I almost want to say barbecue sauce. It's like katsu
Sure.
sauce.
It was like barbecue-y.
Yeah, it's. So
I mean, what is
good.
barbecue sauce really? It's like
Smoked tomato something.
vinegar, sugar,
It's like
combo.
their
right?
It's like their ketchup.
Right.
And wow, I feel like what I've discovered in our conversation is that every culture just does nuggets and barbecue sauce. It's just their version of it.
Sure.
What other versions of breaded items do we have if you're a world traveler?
Out of the North Fork, where I spent the summer,
Okay.
this one restaurant had a swordfish.
What?
Yeah. What did they call it though? Did they call it a Milanese? No, it wasn't a Milanese, but a swordfish, breaded, fried. I couldn't quite. It wasn't smashed, of course.
Okay.
Right. But super thinly sliced.
Really?
Breaded, fried. Yeah.
Did you try?
I did. Yeah, it was good.
Of course you did.
Yeah, of course I did.
Honoring your inner child.
I kind of wanted to put it on a sandwich. I kind of
Okay.
wanted to,
Tartar sauce,
yeah,
lemon.
tartar sauce, lemon.
That sounds
all
good.
that jazz,
So that sounds to me like a fancy fish stick.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then we got fish sticks. It's just another version of a nugget, a tender. There was other
Which
versions.
came first, the nugget or the Milanese? The Milanese.
The Milanese.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it typically with, they just put like arugula, tomatoes, lemon juice.
I'm gonna jog some of your culinary education
Go for
here.
it.
Another one that comes up is chicken Kiev. Do you know that one?
Yeah, my mom used to make that.
Really?
Yeah.
So is that a?
That's the one with, it's like a stuffed breast, right? It's rolled.
Let's see.
Typically with butter and oregano. Breaded.
What?
What was the recipe you pulled up?
It says, okay, chicken Kiev is a breaded cutlet dish, aka tender, a chicken tender. In the
It's not all tenders. I mean, look, tender's a tender. How often do you get chicken tenders? It's
Yeah, but
actually
listen,
the tender. Like,
I mean,
never.
look, just because the
just
Americans
cut
figured
to
out how
look
to
like
make
a
it
tender.
as simple and easy as possible.
No, but it started like, you don't know what to do with this flap hanging off the back of the breast.
leave it to the U.S.
So you'd
bum, ba, bum,
so you'd bread it and fry
ba,
it. But now they just cut everything into a tender. You know what I mean? It's not
Right.
It's like
Right. Now they
prime rib. How often is that prime rib?
Right.
It's become a
only
word
4% of the time, according to the USDA.
How much?
Some people say 2.8, some people say 4%. But that's
Under
what
10.
It's what percentage of beef is graded prime.
Right. Well, what I'm saying is people say prime rib as if that's just like a slicing station, but it means actually prime
Right.
grade.
I don't know that I've ever actually
rib.
had a prime rib.
Huh.
How messed up is that?
That's pretty messed up.
But okay, so
They should call it like, what are the grades? What's after prime? Choice?
so you've got
choice rib.
prime, choice, select, cutter, canner. There's like 7 different ones.
Yeah.
And I believe one of those is what Taco Bell uses. And it says on the box, this is fit for human consumption.
Right.
But it's essentially the same grade as what a dog food item is allowed to use, like canner.
But usually those things are just based on fat content, right? It's the fat content. The
I think it has to do
marbleization
with
is what?
fat content, the age of the cow.
Sure.
Has to do with, and I think in the USDA grading system, I think at 30 months, I believe, don't quote me on this, or 24 months, the age of the cow, you're no longer allowed to keep the vertebrae on the animal. So, long story short, trying to stop using that one too. It's a Jerseyism that Tony always makes fun of me for. In summary,
Making
the
this long story
vertebrate,
short.
the vertebrate.
But you always say it after you've told a long story. That's what I understand.
That's why
Right.
I'm trying to stop
Okay.
doing it, because
Cool.
it's a lie. I want to
Right.
stop lying. So, keeping the spine, like for example, a porterhouse or bone-in chops or all that stuff, at a certain age, and I believe it's either 24 or 30 months, the USDA no longer allows you to keep those bone pieces on the animal.
I remember this, but going back, is it because
because of like
a
supposedly
mad cow?
Yeah, supposedly all like the diseases of the livestock and stuff are passed through the bone and the or can be more
Spinal
easily.
column
Yeah, exactly,
stuff.
exactly.
Nice.
But back to Kiev,
All right.
which sounds really good. Chicken Kiev, also known as chicken a la Kiev, is a dish made of chicken fillet pounded and rolled around cold butter,
Yep, but with oregano.
then coated with egg and breadcrumbs, either baked or fried. Since fillets are often referred to as suprêmes in professional cookery, the dish is also called suprême de volaille à la Kiev,
Yeah.
which is what
That's
chicken.
a French termination. Yeah.
It's volaille sounds like a flying thing.
Yeah.
Stuffed chicken breast is generally known in Russian and Ukrainian cuisines as colette de volaille.
I love how they're giving you the French pronunciation for
know.
that. Yeah.
Well, no, I'm just adding the French pronunciation. How would you say that in English? Volaille, volaille, volaille.
Volaille. I
Volaille.
can't see where it is, but volaille.
Okay. Though it has disputed origins, the dish is particularly popular in post-Soviet states, as well as in several other countries of the former Eastern Bloc. It looks delicious. Look at this picture.
Yeah, it's supposed to kind of burst open with the butter.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so what's the green in there?
That must be the parsley you've been talking about.
Parsley, some kind of herb. I'm sure there's many different variations. Yeah,
Look at this.
it's good.
Can you see it? Anyway, that looks delicious. So anyway, if you happen to be traveling, you wild and crazy traveler, you, in either Ukraine or Russia right now, you can live out your chicken tender
And you
fantasies.
can pronounce French. You
Yes.
can ask for this dish.
Yeah, you can live out your chicken tender fantasies by ordering your chicken Kiev. Next, sacre bleu, how could we forget? We have the Frenchies. Cordon bleu.
Yeah.
Do you know that one?
Of course. Is that with ham?
God. Somehow, they made, it's just everything in French sounds so fancy. It just sounds fancy. Chicken cordon bleu.
Is it fried though?
Bro, this is essentially a ham and cheese sandwich.
Yeah.
Replace the bread
With breading.
with chicken tender. Look at this thing.
It's not all chicken tender. Oh, it is breaded.
Yes.
I don't. This is one of. The cordon bleu is like a very famous French school, cooking school, and all that. But I've never actually made or had it. Isn't that funny?
You never made it? Okay.
No.
So the first time I ever even knew what it was, my friend Matt Crass, funny enough, from high school was like, I think we were doing some sort of project together. And he's like, hey, my mom made chicken cordon bleu. And I'm like, that sounds fancy as a motherfucker. I want to try that. And he's like, I'll bring you a piece. And I'm like, what is it? And he's like, it's pounded out chicken, breaded, that's stuffed with ham and cheese. And I was like, that is not that fancy. But it sounds really delicious. So anyway, so this,
You just had a realization. What was it?
my realization was I was talking to this taxi cab driver in Argentina, and he was like, you know, everybody thinks that the milanesa napolitano was invented in Napoli, in Italy, but it wasn't. It was invented here. And I'm like, oh, right, well,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
I'm sure they invented Hellman's mayonnaise, and you will see why I said that too. But I was like, oh, really? You guys, I don't even know this dish. But essentially, it sounds like the milanese napolitano is cordon bleu.
Okay.
So in France, if you're trying to live out your chicken tender fantasies, you can have a cordon bleu.
You've really expanded the definition of chicken tender out to
I don't think I
anything
did.
breaded.
It's fried chicken.
Chicken
sans bone.
tenders.
Sans bone.
Sans l'oiseau. Okay. No, that's
Okay.
bird. Sans l'os.
Ooh. So there's also, which sounds like it's much more the Argentinian version of the milanesa is a dish from Italy called cotoletta.
Okay.
Right?
It's all the same thing.
Cotoletta originates in Italy as cotoletta alla milanese, okay, and is
Cutlet.
very similar.
It's just cutlet, right?
It's just cutlet.
Right.
Look at you, you phonetic
Cotoletta.
genius. I was like, cotoletta, what does that mean? Cutlet. And it says it's very similar to Wiener Schnitzel.
What's the
However, it
difference?
is a cutlet rather than an escalope. And it is traditionally cooked with its rib.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. Like the big pork chop. You see that with the rib?
Oh, dude.
Right.
In Spain, breaded cutlet is normally called escalope milanesa. Got it.
Lots of different terminology for pounded egg wash.
Chicken tender.
Flour, egg wash.
Chicken tender.
Right. Well.
You're having a problem with that, but I do not.
It's not a tender.
All right.
You know what I mean? The tender part. Like
Of
the
course.
tenderloin of the chicken
Of
breast.
course.
That's the tender.
Right.
It's not
right.
all tender. It's not anything
Who invented
breaded.
the tender? Do you think it was Tyson?
I'm
sure
it's like
some very wealthy family that is currently enjoying sunning their perenniums somewhere in the Mediterranean on a boat right now.
It's a perennial.
Look that one up. That is an interesting one. But so
Sorry,
I want to just find out real quick who invented the chicken tender. Chicken tender. Applegate. Okay, so there's all right. So the chicken tender.
No one invented the chicken tender. It's just this piece that doesn't stick onto the breast.
Okay.
So you take it off, you bread it. You
So
throw it to the dogs.
according to Wikipedia, one time I gave them $1, so they're good. We're friends now. Wikipedia and I. Chicken fingers, also known as chicken goujons.
Gougère, yeah. Goujon, gougère.
Goujons. Goujons.
Goujon. Oh yeah.
Goujon.
I think that has to do with the shape mostly, because you can cut fish into like that shape.
Into
They call it
goujons.
Goujon. Yeah.
Interessante.
Yeah.
So,
I think it means. I could have sworn that Goujon. I'm just having a culinary school flashback. The Goujon was like almost like a minnow or sardine kind of a look.
oh,
You
interesting.
know, it was like this long, thin little piece
Oh,
of
okay.
food, breaded and fried.
Okay. Breaded and
Yeah.
So maybe the French invented it?
It always goes back to them.
Does it? It does, kind of. Buggers. Anyway, so chicken fingers. This is the best. Also known as chicken goujon, tendies, chicken strips, chicken tenders, or chicken fillets are chicken meat prepared from the pectoralis minor muscles of the animal. These strips of white meat are located on either side of the breastbone, under the breast meat, pectoralis major. They may also be made with similarly shaped pieces cut from the chicken meat, usually the breast, or sometimes just pulverized chicken flesh.
Nice.
I've had those too. Those are pretty good. That's when they can hide all kinds of stuff in there, like brine and seasonings and whatever. Okay. Chicken tenders were first made in Manchester, New Hampshire, at the Puritan Backroom in 1974. I did not expect that.
It's a very exact location, place, and time.
I feel like we need to visit this place.
Let's do it.
This should be like a pilgrimage.
So what are you going to go have tonight? Are you going to stick on this Milanese chicken tender vibe you got going? Are you going to stick with it, or are you going to branch out from there? What's on the menu for tonight?
Listen, I think I'm just gonna, like I said, I'm going.
Are we grilling tonight?
We might be grilling, but I think I'm just gonna have chicken tenders. Listen,
I'll join you.
Now that I just got to finish with this. This is in 2023. Manchester, New Hampshire, was officially declared the chicken tender capital of the world.
Wow.
By Mayor Joyce Craig. So, long story short, if you love katsu, if you love katsu, if you love chicken parmigiana, if you love schnitzel,
get yourself to Manchester. Where is it? Manchester.
It's probably the only reason to go. I'm sure it is. It's Manchester, New Hampshire, the Puritan Backroom. Oh!
The Puritan bathroom?
Breaking news, though. Breaking news. Restaurants in Savannah, Georgia, and Baton Rouge, Louisiana, have challenged this claim with later assertions to the invention of the chicken tenders, although the general consensus still supports the claim in Manchester. Long story.
Sure.
Long. Sounds to me like no matter where you are in the world, you can enjoy a chicken tender.
Of something.
Whether it's the pectoralis minor, it's the pectoralis major. And listen, I want to make sure that before we leave, look, I know your kid's not here, but let's pretend I'm your kid. And tonight, we're going to get you the biggest, juiciest, most delicious chicken tender you have ever had, even if
Except
it's
going to be pork and not a tender.
We'll just have to see.
Let's do it. No ketchup. Ketchup is what turns it into a tender.
I mean, challenge accepted. Thanks for listening to Overseasoned. It's been a pleasure to have you. We're going to be having a blast in Buenos Aires. Hope you join us as our continued adventure brings you all the best tenders of the world.
Good time.